Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Sisters. Today, we'll be discussing the LGBTQIA community and you. Stay tuned. And we're back. So, today, we're discussing some very important, as I mentioned, LGBTQ plus community and you. Now, depending on where you live, the culture is different. Today, we have two very special guests. We have Miss Rashana, who is an overseas based Guyanese and a member of the LGBTQ community. And we have popular socialite Mr. Trevi Fenty, who is also a famous makeup artist in Guyana. Before we continue, I need to ask, what are your pronouns, Rashana and Trevi, out of respect?
You go.
You could go first, Trevi.
Me? It doesn't matter for me.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So maybe address you as he.
Yeah.
Okay, and Rashana.
For me, it's she.
Thank you for that. The reason I decided to ask that question because in America, it is very important that we address people in general by their preferred pronouns, no matter what you think they should be called. And I want you guys to keep an open mind for today's show because it's a course correction, it's learning and healing for all of us. We may not say the correct things politically. However, that's why we have two guests who are a member of the communities and they're here to teach us. So please keep an open mind for today's episode and we hope you learn something. I'd like to introduce to you our first guest, Miss Rashana. Hi, Rashana.
Hi, Shimmy. How you doing, darling?
I'm well, thank you, doll. And next, I would love to introduce Mr. Trevi Fenty.
Hi.
Hi, Trevi. Any relations to Rihanna?
Could be.
Tell her. So let's jump right into today's discussion. I'm gonna throw it over to my gorgeous sisters. Hi, sisters. How are you?
Hi, we're great.
Hi, Nelly. So I'm gonna hand it over to Chanelli, who's gonna get the ball rolling with today's conversation.
So today, Trevi, we're glad to have you. By the way,
Thank you.
it was a long anticipated show, and we're finally here. So thank you for allowing
Thanks
us
for
to be a
having
part
me.
of your life. So tell us first and foremost, what does the LGBTQ letters or abbreviation stands for, if you don't mind?
It's an all exclusive,
Um, Something that includes all persons of gender, sexualities, lesbian, gays, bi,
trans or
queer persons.
Okay, so tell us a little about you and
mm,
just what you do. Help us to get to know you a bit more.
my name is Rohan Fancy, but I go by Trev.
Be Fenty,
I'm a makeup artist. No,
a makeup artist,
Okay.
uh, I'm into
fashion designing,
I love
meeting new people.
um,
I'm very shy, but only when people upset with it, then I just
See
correct.
the other color, the true you.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if I could interject here, tell me a bit about your journey. I know
Hey,
that
what's
in
up?
Guyana,
Where you fit in?
we're
I just
kind
money,
of
and we got some more. What's
we're
your
not as
first?
open-minded as we
Mhm.
ought to be.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
And so
Put it in.
sorry, what has been your journey like being a part of the LGBTQ community?
Um, hmm, a bit challenging, but you gotta get thick skin. You gotta be confident in your own skin, and you gotta be true to yourself. Um, People gonna call you certain names, file like the higher you.
Mm-hmm.
um, and you gotta get a good supportive system,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's home, friends, um, and stuff on online that could motivate you and stuff like that.
Inspirational
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So you say it's challenging. I know in Guyana and across the world, discrimination is an issue for the community. Tell me if you wouldn't mind sharing maybe one or two instances in which you vividly remember that you were discriminated against, either in the workplace or in society.
in the community.
Um, let's see. One time we went to a club, and this is when I first started to cross dress,
Mm.
and it was an incident whereby using the washroom, and the bouncers threw us out, and we had to fight with them.
Oh my,
Mm.
oh my,
Yeah.
my.
So
So
you beat them up bad.
So let me ask the same question to Rishana, who is an overseas-based Guyanese. Rishana, what has been like the treatment, care in Guyana versus you being a part of the community in the U.S.? What are the differences?
Um, so when I first came back to Guyana after cross-dressing and coming out of my sexuality, it was a little different. Um, a lot of people stared. A lot of the guys thought that they could talk to me. It wasn't like the staring was a big thing. I went to a wedding and I felt like I got married when I walked in. I had on my nice little tie and I looked good. Feel me? My hair was done. I was looking so cute. I walk into the wedding and the bride and the groom is standing there, and then everybody at the reception was staring at me, and I felt like, okay, did I just get married? Like,
Mm.
so when walking past, you could hear the kids saying, "Mommy, is that a boy or a girl?" So, I'm coming home at first, it hurt a little, but it was just like I got over it as towards the trip was ending because I'm like, I look good. They may have others out there like me, but I look clean. You feel me? So I would prefer to just take a picture because it lasts longer. And but
Yeah.
being here in being here in New York City, you be sometimes you still have the little discrimination with the guys that still think they could talk to you or they still could change you, but it's more comfortable because you see more of
Like
tomboys,
yourself.
lesbians, studs, stems walking around, looking, being able to be themselves, especially with the guys. When you see the flamboyant guys and with the nails and they got their hair done, sometimes I walk by, I just be like, yes, love, I love the nails. You look good. I like to tell them that they look good because even you don't know what's going on in their household or who's accepting them. So coming from Guyana to America and going back to Guyana after changing over and learning more about myself and being comfortable in my skin, it was different. I could say it was definitely more different. It's more staring and less talking in Guyana, but in America it's more talking and they wouldn't even care how you dress. They'll still try to talk to you.
Right. So tell us your story of coming out in the Guyanese household because we know, having Guyanese parenting and so on,
Very
like certain
religious.
things are, yeah, religious at that.
Whew.
Certain things are totally unacceptable, but tell us about that.
So I remember when I first came out, I
So
was
can we
showing my
explain
mom pictures.
to our viewers because some people don't know what that context is? So you're saying you
Sorry, repeat that.
no coming out for our viewers. I just want them to know what that term means. So could you explain to them what coming out is as well?
Oh, coming out. Oh, coming out the closet, identifying yourself as either lesbian, gay, bisexual, letting your parents, like, letting people know that this is what you like. We actually have a holiday out here in New York. It's called Coming Out Day. I think it's in July, a little bit before Pride Week. So they have this thing called Coming Out Day. So just basically coming out the closet about who you are and what your sexuality is. I was showing my mom pictures on the phone of when I went out one day, and I told her to slide to here, but parents, they just keep sliding, and keep sliding. So she kept sliding, and she saw a picture of a girl sitting on my lap on the train, and we was kissing. So she picked up the phone, she called my brother, she said, Jeremy, I see a picture of Rashana sitting on the train kissing a girl. So my brother turned around and said, man, Reg, relax yourself. This was Rashana's girlfriend. My she said, what? Rashana girlfriend. Rashana is a gay? So I stand up by the bedroom door and I'm nervous, I'm sweating, my palms are sweaty. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Next thing you know, my cousin turned and said, Rashana, duck. I like duck the remote. My mom threw the remote at me, but she missed. Because I catch the duck in time. But ever since then, I just had to teach her like the pronouns and what it was and what it's like and stuff. And she's become more comfortable with it. When July comes, we all know, sorry, June. When June comes, June month is Pride month. So when Pride month comes, she gets colorful clothes and socks and stuff like that, and she goes out and she represents us because not only am I gay, my brother's gay as well too, one of my brothers. But it was at first it was a little rough, but after I came out, it was pretty calm after that. She was able to cope with it and being an understanding mom. And I appreciate her for that because being from back in the days, you only know about man and woman, not woman and woman or man and man. And for her to change her mindset and see it a little differently and see it in our eyes and our point of view and what it's like for us in these streets made really felt good, because some people don't have that, because there's some kids who come out and be like, oh, well, I want to be a transgender. I don't feel like a boy. I want to be a girl. And some people don't have that support home. So to know that I have that and that I have that now makes me feel good. I could bring a girl, every girl that comes over, mom swears it's my girlfriend. She can never think it's just a friend. I can never have no female friends without it being a girlfriend, but what can I say?
So, Charlie, tell us about your coming out
I can't even
story.
remember I can't remember for real, but I can't remember.
But
It
you were
was.
generally accepted within the home space, within your
I
family.
was already out living on my own,
Oh,
so
from an early
yeah.
age. Oh, okay.
So this is why I can't remember it really. But
Oh,
my father was accepting, and he didn't really care. And so he wouldn't show it nobody bad. He bad for nobody good. So that
uh-huh.
was a good thing.
What about
Oh,
your mom?
She passed
Okay.
away.
Oh,
okay.
sorry to hear.
Thanks.
My
The
condolences.
family accepting. So.
It was just some of society,
Yeah,
some of the people
subside,
in.
but I don't really care about them. They don't pay me bills, so
True.
okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. So, some persons would want to know, and I think it's a valid question, and I hope I structure it correctly. Um, when did you realize that you were attracted to
The
the
same
same
sex.
sex?
Uh,
I was innocent.
when I was 8, uh, I used to try to fight the feeling,
Um,
high school and stuff like that, going for girls, but they rejected me. And now that I got older, they want me, but I want the same.
Oh my God.
I want the
I
same
think
thing.
they want to.
Can't happen.
Hmm.
But when I was 19, the
Feeling was more
Was
stronger.
stronger.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what
Roshana?
about you, Rashana?
Um, for me, I would have to say I was in the fourth grade, um, and I had a science teacher. And man, this science teacher was so beautiful. Every day I was on time for her class. I would never miss a day of school when I had science. I was so obsessed with my science teacher. I memorized her license plate on her car. So every time she used to drive by and I'm walking home from school, I used to be like, hi. And as growing up and being in junior high and high school, the feelings got stronger. And my first real girlfriend was in high school. And I mean, I've kissed a guy before, but it don't give you butterflies to when you kiss a girl. I get the butterflies in my stomach and my foot, my palms get sweaty. I just feel like just a woman's body is just gorgeous to me. So I think my science teacher was the first time I realized that I like women.
Okay. And what earlier we spoke a bit on discrimination, but we would want to know what are some of the words or terms or slangs in society that people use that are generally unacceptable for the LGBTQ community?
some would be faggot, as manager says here. Um, welcome back to you.
Mm-hmm.
um, like um,
Yeah.
Mm,
lesbian, these different
Yeah,
butch.
so we should definitely not use those
things.
words to describe anyone, regardless. What about you, Rashana? What are some of the no-nos people should definitely not address you by because there are proper terms to be used?
Mm,
Yeah. For me, is a dyke. I'm not a dyke. A dyke is like a butch, like one of those. I don't know how to really describe it, but I'm not one. I'm more of a lesbian, or a stud or a stem. A stud would be someone like tomboy, and a stem would be a mixture of a femme and a
mm,
stud, which gives you that tomboy but still girly look feature. You know, you still have your feminine ways, but you still could rock both ways if that makes sense. Trev know what I'm
Right.
talking about.
very funny, yeah.
So,
Yeah. So,
I know you're presently in a very loving relationship. Do you mind sharing a bit of that with us?
oh, it's a situationship now, I should say, but it's combined of three people. And short term is poly, but I can't pronounce the full termination. So it's a poly relationship consists of three people. It's a guy and a girl. And I got open to it after realizing that I like both sex. So I'm bisexual. Um, I feel like being with a man and a woman evens things out because sometimes being with a woman is stressful. Can understand where the guys come from when they say that. But then having a guy there and a woman there to level things out makes it more balancing because then it's like, okay, I could be aggressive, but then I can also be feminine when I want to be, you know. So the relationship is dope. It's something that I know other people are not into, but I know this is what I'm into. You know, it's only one life to live. You don't know if you're gonna wake up tomorrow. You gotta know that when you die and you go 6 feet under, you know, you did what you wanted to do while you were here. You know, you
Right.
left a milestone here for somebody else to come and say, well, I like a poly relationship. I'm gonna try dating two people and see what it's like. I mean, it may be two different personalities, but there's understanding. There's understanding there, you know? So
So,
I
what are the. Okay, go ahead, Kelly.
Right, relationships.
That's a great question.
You know, um, the guys here undecisive. So
Mm.
Mm, mm,
Okay.
Darling, we gotta bring you to New York. Come to New York.
soon. See you soon. Wednesday.
I'll see you soon. When you come, I got you.
All right, baby. Coming Wednesday. um,
Actually, about me, I got you, darling.
honesty, loyalty, um, compassion, and just be real with me and I'll be real with you. To the right person, yes.
So I know here in Guyana, in fact, it was just last August, the National Assembly decriminalized cross dressing. So that was a major milestone for us here in Guyana because in 2018, the CCJ had ruled that to criminalize cross dressing was unconstitutional. It's a breach of freedom of expression. So how do you feel about that move? And I guess we have a very far way to go because there are other laws that still
Need to be
uh,
implemented,
need to
yes.
be changed. Uh huh.
I feel great about it. Um,
Persons can be themselves,
um, not be targeted or
abused.
any longer.
And I know that SASA has been working. I know there are other organizations, but I'm
Yes,
very familiar with
Hazard
SASA.
and Guyana Trans.
Yeah,
Unite.
they have been behind the cases and pushing for laws to be amended
Yeah,
and changed
yeah,
to incorporate everyone. So that's it's a step in the right
yeah.
direction, we would say.
So we within the community have to, stick with each other so that society can see that we fight.
Partner with each other to make a better home. Because it starts within the home.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
came from a very strong
Mhm.
Yeah.
background.
Mhm.
Our parents are intercessors, deacons,
Ministers.
deaconesses, and so on in church. And so these are things that are taught to us as
Wrong.
negative,
Yeah.
it's wrong, and
Mhm.
so on. So these perceptions would have already been filtered into us.
Mhm.
So it is realistically, it's difficult for us to accept this
Mhm.
because this is what we have been taught according to our scriptures and according to what they would have,
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
beliefs and traditions and all of that. And so I think I understand that persons are discriminated against.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you have your battles that you're going to be facing. But I still think that on our part, we have
Mhm.
to be considered
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
going to be hard for us to accept this.
Mhm.
All right. And so, with the laws, as Lana would have mentioned, and, us, as Shamizu would have mentioned, it's a learning process
Yeah.
and it's healing. And so, if we sit and we have these dialogues with these persons, we're better able to
Understand.
understand where you guys
Mhm.
are coming from and
Yeah.
we
Be
can
more
relate to
educated.
you
Yeah.
guys, right? Because now we're educated.
Yeah.
And on that same note, Colleen, I was a bit reluctant to, be in the company of people from the community.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because I felt like they're so brave and sometimes they do it better than me. I
That's
don't
true.
know, right? But when I went on vacation and I spent like my entire vacation with Roshana and her brother and so on, and they taught me a lot about
Mm.
the lifestyle and about their preference. And one of the things that I realized is that these people are the most loving people that they have on this earth.
Mhm.
And the community is growing so much because of the love they extend to each other and they look out for one another, because majority of these people are coming from a place where they're rejected, they're scorned, they're looked upon and so on, and so they realize by now the only support that we have is
It's
to
each other.
support each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And so one time I went to the park. There was like this big parade, not like a parade. I think one of the member was killed,
Mm.
and they would do like a memorial every year for people who were killed
Mm.
because they're a part of the community and so on. And that was a really nice activity. They told us about the history and so on and so on. And so from then onwards, I have been so open minded
Mm.
because these people need love.
Right.
These people, how could we preach about the gospel and so on, but then at the same time
You hate.
we hate,
Mm-hmm.
and hate is the biggest lesson
Right.
of Christianity and
Mm-hmm.
of religion and so on. And even every now and again, I would have to say to my mother, because she pressured us fly out. Oh God! Like sometimes I would say to her, yeah, Nirushan and I were having a conversation, and she said, Rishana was such a nice girl. And I'm like, she is still such a nice girl, but she's of that age where she don't understand it. She don't go anywhere. She don't speak to anybody. So what she knows is exactly what she was taught, and she's not exposed
Right.
to get like new information and so on. And I would tell her, I said, listen, you got it done with this nonsense now. Get to know people,
Right.
get to know
Mhm.
things, learn new things, watch videos since you don't go anywhere. You're always on your phone watching videos. Watch videos about them. I also watched this program Pose,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pose
Mhm.
taught
Oh
me a lot,
yes, I love pose.
I love that
and
show.
you get to really see it is a struggle every day. And living life for me, some of the challenges that I face, like the normal challenges, is so struggling.
Right.
Much less to have these challenges, the
Added.
normal challenges of life, along with people just not accepting of who you are.
Right.
It's devastating to
Mm-hmm.
think about it that way.
I remember I was asking when you mentioned the program Pose. I remember I was asking Shimi. I said, Shimi, I'm not seeing RuPaul's Drag Race because
Mhm.
everybody knew I'm into RuPaul's
Mhm.
Drag Race. I up with the season. Shimi was like, Colleen, I don't have any other shows to give you my password to. Just watch what you have on Netflix. But I remember I was watching one of the episodes and one of the drag queens said, she
More
feels
confident.
accepted.
Yeah.
She feels confident because there is where she's accepted.
Mm-hmm.
She's free to express herself
Yeah.
as opposed to when she's out of drag. And so we don't understand where you guys are coming from because you would have mentioned you were molested. And so that poses a great, or that plays a great part as to what you are today. And so me on the outside judging you because I'm not gonna sit here and pretend as though I don't because
Mm-hmm.
I do. I say gays, I say lesbians, I say zabati, I say those things.
Which is
And so
unacceptable for the
right,
last
which
part.
is unacceptable. And so for me, it's not acceptable because I don't know where they're coming from. But him expressing himself and saying, you know what, this is what would have happened to me. I'm fortunate that none of this that this did not happen to me. Lana is fortunate that this hasn't happened to her. Probably Shami, Nelly as well.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry,
but the thing
it's
is,
probably.
I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to be humorous. So, us understanding where they're coming from, and the only how we're going to understand is if we give them a voice.
yeah. But if I could interject, I feel best because I've interacted with a lot of persons, well, a reasonable amount of persons due to my profession from the community, and indeed, some of whom I would have spoken to would have said yes, they were abused from a tender age, right? And this is something I think we probably should
Sorry.
address in a subsequent episode, talking about abuse, whether boy or girl, because both genders
Mm-hmm.
are sexually molested at some stage, and unfortunately so, and it's wrong.
Right.
But there are other people who believe that they were born that way. It had nothing to do
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
abuse.
Right.
So you're right. Understanding the various perspectives and experiences
Right.
is very important because people, especially the ones who I've spoken to, many of them indeed they were abused, and it's really sad and unfortunate. Uh,
Yeah.
but that doesn't say that maybe in the future they would not have been
Mm-hmm.
attracted to the
Right.
same
Yes.
sex or
Correct.
so on. It
Um,
varies.
on that note, like I respect the community because of my profession as well, and since it is getting so popular in Guyana now, you have like in the school systems, I feel like enough wasn't done to cater for these type of students, and so now that it's so popular, they're now thinking to address such. But I have one kind of a problem, and is the fact that I feel forced to accept um person's preference,
Right.
and me not accepting is my preference,
Yeah.
but I feel like sometimes our preferences aren't respected, and it's as if, okay, because you this is the choice you made, like I should just say, okay, I understand and just accept it. But what I want the people of the community to understand from as much of the information that I have is that it's okay for people not to be okay with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that should be your first lesson, because coming out, the you have to come out because of what society thinks, and it is against what people look and see when they look at you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you do decide to come out, you need to acknowledge and understand that everybody won't be okay with it, and
Right.
that's
And that's
fine.
fine.
That's fine. Everybody's not going to be accepting, but that's okay. You have your preference, I have my preference. Where the line needs to be drawn, though, is when you will want to project your preference on people
Mm-hmm.
by being mean or being
Correct.
disrespectful or by discriminating or so on. But at the same time, the people in the community needs to understand that, listen, if you don't agree with this, if you don't believe in this, is
It's
okay.
fine. Yeah.
Maybe with time you will get to understand. And I feel like getting to know people helps a lot with understanding their story and understanding their situation
Mm-hmm.
or understanding their lifestyle. And like with Rashana too, at first, when she told me about the poly relationship, I was like, okay, because in Guyana you're taught one man to one woman,
Mm-hmm.
even though there is man
Caribbean.
shortage and
Mm-hmm.
so on. Now we are told that sometimes it's 5 to 1 and so on. But here we see that as giving blow. Like you're being promiscuous. What are you
Mm-hmm.
doing? But now we have to cater for. But I wanted to ask though, Roshana, do you call it poly
Mm.
if the woman decides to have two man too?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's still
Oh,
three
well then
people.
I can explore that
Maybe
My,
we can do a completely different
Yeah.
show
but the other thing
exploring
is,
polygamy.
Shamiz, you're saying something. Go right ahead
Go right
here.
ahead, Shimi.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying we should definitely do a show exploring polygamy. Chanel and I have a story to share on our experience with witnessing great polygamy interaction.
Right.
But I
Fair enough.
for you.
Yeah, I'll be
Earlier, Claire
back for that
asked
show.
you if
Please
you have
do.
love in your life, and you said the men are undecisive. I wanted to know, what do you mean by that? Is it that a lot of men you find to be what is known as on the down low? And if so,
Yeah.
why do you think they're afraid to live their true selves? Because that's what we want for them. Just be who you are.
Some of them aren't that confident enough, and society and the stigma attached to it.
So some of them have not yet, as we say, come out as
Yeah,
yet. So
yeah.
they're still.
And they easily listen to feelings and listening to people and stuff like that. You gotta safeguard yourself.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the risks associated with that. I know life is a process, it's a stage, and so people would they have to come out when they
Feel,
feel
yeah, or
free and
comfortable.
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 Mhm.
But there are people who just want the best of both
Mhm.
worlds,
And
and then
sometimes
they
you
hurt
have you
people in the
giving,
process.
yeah, giving up. If I like wearing makeup and these
I
fancy
feel like
things.
some of them
So
tag
some of
people
them just
along.
like give up these things, and then at the end of it, they still hurt you at the
Okay,
end.
so they come with demands and
Yeah.
so forth, and yet still they're not living up
Mm-hmm.
to the
Yeah.
expectation. What's your take on that, Roshana? People who, they're still
In the
dealing with it.
closet.
They're in the closet. They're still dealing with it, but they want to enjoy the best of both worlds. But in the process, they hurt people.
Yeah, I feel like people who are still in the closet, but not realize is just not ready to be themselves, and be loyal to who they are. You know, you can't continue to keep living life for other people, or for what other based off other what anyone else says. If you really think about it, the LGBT community is really, really big with the undercover people. If
Mm-hmm.
you include the undercover people too, but you should just feel comfortable to be yourself, because at the end of the day, not only are you holding yourself back from finding love, but you're holding you're hurting people at the end of the day as well too. So you also got to think about the person that you're talking to. Like, do I want to start this knowing that I'm not fully out the closet? And I tell females when I meet them, I'm like, are you out the closet? Like, does your family know that you like girls? Because I'm not about to come around and be the best friend, or be, oh, that's just my friend. No, I'm here like, okay, this is my girl. We talk, this is what it is. Like, this is how we are. Because I know a couple of people who's still in the closet and still not able to come out and be who they are, but it's just built off of motivation, but and also their background and where they come from.
Very good.
Okay, so the conversation is going great at the moment, and we will wrap up this episode of the Sister Show. But definitely, we'll be back next week with part two. So stay tuned.